Welcome to Wire Paladin Stories. Stories, in fact, about the Old West. Childbirth in the Old West during the 1880s was a starkly different experience compared to today, characterized by significant risks and limited medical intervention, especially for those in rural or lower income situations. Here's a breakdown. Caregivers, midwives. The vast majority of births were attended by midwives. These were usually older, experienced women from the community who learned their skills through apprenticeship and practical experience rather than formal medical training. They provided comfort, support, and relied on traditional methods. Doctors. Physicians were less commonly involved in childbirth, especially in rural areas. They were more likely to be called upon by wealthier families or in cases of difficult labor. By the late 19th century, male physicians, the coutures, were gaining influence, particularly among the upper classes, who believed their training offered more safety, and they sometimes used forceps and, later in the century, anesthesia like chloroform. However, until the widespread adoption of antisepsis, doctors could also inadvertently spread infection. Setting: home births. Almost all births occurred at home, attended by the midwife, female relatives, and neighbors who offered support. Hospitals with maternity wards were not yet common. Conditions and practices. Lack of sanitation. Germ theory was beginning to be understood, but antiseptic practices were not yet routine, especially in homes. This led to high rates of infection, such as puerperal fever, childbed fever, which was a major cause of maternal death. No pain relief for most. For the majority of women, pain relief was limited to perhaps some alcohol or herbal remedies offered by the midwife. Wealthier women might have access to opium-based preparations or, later in the century, chloroform. Dangerous conditions. Poor nutrition, hard physical labor right up to the onset of labor, and pre-existing medical conditions common among poorer women made childbirth particularly dangerous for them. Birth positions. Women typically gave birth squatting, sitting, or standing, which are now understood to be more conducive to labor than lying down. Lying down during birth became more common later, influenced by medical practices. Postpartum. After delivery, women were often kept lying down, heavily wrapped, sometimes for extended periods, which could increase the risk of infection. Outcomes. High mortality. Both maternal and infant mortality rates were high compared to today due to infection, hemorrhage, and complications during labor. Many women approached childbirth with fear. However, it's also important to remember that many mothers and babies did survive.